everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blogging ABCs. My name is Deborah Carney, and I'm one of the hosts. I am joined today by co-hosts
Trisha Meyer
and
Vinny O'Hare.
And we have a special guest today,
Stephanie Lichtenstein from Micromedia Marketing.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Steph.
And
Hi,
Trisha.
hi everyone.
We're really glad to have Stephanie on board because she's a social media specialist who helps people drive traffic to their blogs and other websites, by utilizing social media such as Facebook and Twitter. So, Trisha, why don't you lead us off?
I am so excited to have Stephanie here today because I feel like I have a lot to learn about social media still. I mean, everyone assumes that because, I've been doing affiliate marketing, doing blogging for so many years that I must know social media, but that's not the case. I think you have to put a lot of time into it to learn the ins and outs, and you have to watch trends. And I think that that's something that we all kind of struggle when you're trying to do the blogging and everything else at the same time. You've got to find some good people to follow. And Stephanie, you're clearly one of the people that I always follow because you always seem to be in the know about everything. So what do you got for us?
Thank you so much. Well, I think you do a great job with social media, but you're right. It's hard to keep up with the day-to-day activity on social media. So what we really do is manage accounts for people that maybe are too busy to do it, or maybe are just a little overwhelmed and are not that familiar with the social media platforms. Some of the main ones that we use that were mentioned are Facebook and Twitter, but we also like to use YouTube. Trisha, I know you do a lot of videos.
Yeah.
That's another great platform. So it really depends on what your audience is, how involved you want to get, how many different platforms to use. But those are some of the bigger ones.
Well, and it's really good to remember, I can't believe I forgot YouTube, because that's like, now when I set up a blog, I'm one of those people that has a lot of websites. So when I set up a blog...
I'm laughing because I just did a YouTube video about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. What we, when I set up a blog or a website, my process now is to set up a matching Twitter account, a Facebook fan page, which Stephanie, you can explain in a minute, and then a YouTube account. Because YouTube has become the second biggest search engine in the world. They get more search traffic than Bing or whoever else you want to, Yahoo, whatever. And they're closing in on Google, but fortunately for Google owns YouTube. So, and in the tweens category, it is the most used search engine, which blows my mind. I can't even imagine.
So starting with the basics, if you're just, most of our listeners are bloggers, obviously. Starting from the very basics, you start with your blog. What are if you had to give, say, 3 basic tips to a blogger who's just starting out, they've got their blog established, what would you tell them that they need to do to make sure that they're starting their social media off on the right foot?
Okay, that's a great question. Usually when someone is a blogger, they tend to pick a niche. And with that, you can find different communities online on the social media platforms. And the first thing to do would be what Deborah was mentioning, make sure you secure the right names. Now, you want to make it very simple for someone to find you. So it would be ideal to name all your social media pages the same as your blog page. If that name is too long, you should try to find an abbreviated version of that name and make sure they're available in all locations. Keep in mind that on Twitter, you have a limited amount of space, so you might not want to have such a long username. But it has to be extremely easy for people to be able to find you, number one. Number two, you want to keep all your branding consistent, so maybe using the same images everywhere, the same tagline. I use social media as a tool to drive traffic back to blog posts. So it'll be easy for them to find the blog, and then on the blog you can also have social media linked there, so they kind of help each other. So when they're on the blog, there should be, a Facebook icon, a Twitter icon, a YouTube icon, and they can click and go directly to those pages from there. And then within the blog post, try to make it as social as possible, where they can, if they read something that they like on your blog, they can then share that with their friends on Facebook or easily retweet that. with their friends, and that'll send more traffic to your site. And another thing I want to emphasize on is it doesn't matter if you can't do it for a long period of time during the day, but try not to make everything completely automated. It's better if you take a little bit of time to connect to different people. So you might have other bloggers that complement your site, or you might feature someone or a specific product that you like on your blog post. And when you're going to send out a tweet or post something on Facebook about it, take a little bit of extra time to personalize that tweet and find those people on Twitter or find that product and link to them. And that way you have a higher chance of building a community and start getting higher interactions with people when you post things.
Very good.
That's great. Now, the one thing I would like you to explain is the difference between a Facebook personal page and then a Facebook fan page, because that's a question that I'm getting a lot lately on a couple of mailing lists that I'm on, is that people don't understand the difference.
Yeah, there is a big difference, and I do get sometimes a friend request from someone that happens to be a company. And what happens with that, Facebook will take notice of that, and eventually they could shut down your page. And the reason for that being is Facebook is a much more personal network where you kind of have to know each other to add each other as a friend. On Twitter, you can kind of have a conversation with anyone. But since Facebook is so personal, the personal pages are meant to be for people. Now, that's the reason that Facebook set up fan pages. Those are dedicated to businesses. And if you have a business, you can easily create a page for your business. And once you have more than 25 fans, you can then name that page. So you'll have the URL, say facebook.com/micromedia marketing, and people will be able to find you that way. But it's very important to not use personal pages for that, because like I said, eventually your page could be shut down.
Yeah, I know personally a bunch of people and some very large companies that were all of a sudden like, uh-oh, Facebook told us we aren't supposed to be doing this, so we're going to have to like shift you guys all over, now come like our fan page while we, rebuild our, we have to shut this one down.
Yeah, and in that process you could lose a lot of fans. It's harder to transfer them over to another page, so...
Now, what about fan pages versus groups? I also see a lot of brands that are creating group pages for themselves. Some of them have both a fan page and a group. Some of them have one or the other.
Yeah. Well, Facebook has updated some things within their groups, which have become a little bit better. And one of the features on groups is you can have a private group. So that can work really well if you have certain people, say, within your company, or you have clients and you want to have private conversations, and it's a good thing to set up because a lot of people tend to log into Facebook more, and you can create a lot of conversations. I even know people that are having weddings or birthdays, and they plan things and they do it within a private group and invite whatever friends they want to invite. The thing that you should be promoting the most, say on your website, on your email newsletters, would be the fan page, which I would suggest, having that open to everyone, and that's where you would use that's what you would use as a platform to post public news, any information you want to share with your fans, any promotions, and that's the page that I always open for all of my clients. But then if they had something that I think would be better handled on a more intimate or on a more private level, then I would set up a private group. But people were using groups before fan pages were around. Groups also work well, say, if it's actually like really a local group of people that are meeting, say they're having an affiliate summit meetup and they want to have a group for that. It's kind of a different platform. But the best way to promote yourself and to be able to actually get all the statistics from Facebook is the only place you can get that is on the fan pages. So I have a client that I'm working with, and he's a motivational speaker. So he has his personal page and then he has his fan page. But the only place I can really get stats for him at the end of each month and see what's going on within the page is on the actual fan page.
And the other good thing about fan pages is that you can have a discussion section where people can start discussions with you, or you can start discussions and ask people things. And you can have an events tab. So taking your motivational speaker as an example, if he is going to have an online event, he can create an event that will now be announced to all of the people on his fan page.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that you bring up asking questions. That's a great way to interact with your fans. And Facebook added questions as a new feature, and you can take polls, or you can have people openly post whatever answers they want. And that's another cool new feature they added that adds more interactions to fan pages and to personal pages alike.
So you mentioned that when we have our blog, we should have a link to our Facebook fan page. You know, obviously they're either link graphic in some form. What's the difference for bloggers in terms of getting people to like your page versus getting them to like your individual posts? Do we need to have separate buttons so that you've got one that's your fan page, and then also use some kind of plugin to have people liking the posts?
Yeah, well, what we can do at the end of this is I'll send Deborah a few links that show how to get the retweet button and the Facebook share, or like, where you can just go in and like the specific blog post. And those are different from just adding icons. And maybe at the end of at the end of the podcast, we can put a list of resources where they can find those widgets.
Right. We'll totally put that in the show notes.
Okay. Something else I wanted to discuss, and I had Mother's Day on my mind since it's coming up on Sunday, is to follow trending topics. So no matter what kind of blog you have, there could be certain topics going on that are relevant to everyone, and you can capitalize that and try to post a new article that features that topic, and then try to tweet it featuring those keywords. So I can get into more details, but I don't know if Trisha or Loxley have done this before. I'm sure you probably have.
Trisha, I think you would be the queen of the following the trends, since you do a lot of pop culture blogging. That's your business.
I do. I am one of those people that will throw up the blog post like immediately when I see something on the Today Show in the morning, or I see something that's trending on Twitter. I always keep the trending list going on there just in case there's something that I'm missing. I find more than just the tools, for me, it's just an awareness of keeping my fingers in certain places. My pajama jeans has become a huge thing on a couple of my sites, and it's all because I saw 2 or 3 different people from different social circles posted on Facebook. When you see people in the same social circle posting things, I don't think much of it. But when I see somebody in affiliate marketing and somebody from a PTO group and somebody I went to high school, all within 24 hours mention the same word or same topic, that it's not like everybody was talking about pajama jeans a few months ago, but when 3 people in 3 different areas of my life mention the same thing, I know it's going to become a trend before too long.
I have a question for you, Trisha. Do you think jeggings are the same thing as pajama jeans?
They are.
If they are, I'm in trouble.
Absolutely not. Jeggings
Thank you.
Form fitted. Pajama jeans are boot cut and actually have pockets and rivets on them. So totally.
Thank you. I need to let someone know that was trying to tell me I was wearing pajama jeans. We saw the commercial. He's like, "That's what you wear." I was like, "No, jeggings are not the same."
They are completely different. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Okay, good. So I'll continue using Mother's Day as an example, but it can be used for any holiday. The royal wedding was last week. Osama bin Laden was killed. It can be used for anything that comes up in the news, or anything that's a regular holiday that you can plan ahead for. And there are certain things that will pop up every day. So there's a few ways that you can follow these certain topics. You can set up on iGoogle on your homepage, see what the trending topics on Google are. You can also on Twitter see what the top hashtags are, and that's basically means it's the # and a keyword or an event. So in this case, it would be Mother's Day. Or if you're going to a conference, there might be a certain keyword that you would use to keep track and kind of categorize what's going on with this specific topic. So on Twitter, if I wanted to send something out or I did a blog post about Mother's Day, I would then use the pound sign and the word Mother's Day together with no spaces, and all the people that are following this trend would now see that. You can take it as far as doing promoted tweets where you would pay to be at the top of the list on this specific hashtag every time it's being used, and do that through paying Twitter for promoted tweets. On Facebook, it's a little bit different, where you can't just go out and write the word Mother's Day if you want it to be tagged to something. You would have to go in, search for the key term Mother's Day, and then I found, I did use this for one of my clients, and I found Mother's Day, and there was a fan page for it, and it had, say, 25,000 fans on it. So you have to go in, like the page first before you can link to it. So you go in, you like the page, then you go to your fan page and you say, it's Mother's Day, and you use the @ sign that you would use for an email. You put the @ sign and you start typing Mother's Day. Now that you've liked the page, it'll come up in a list, and you can select the word Mother's Day, hit enter, and now you can link to that within your post. Facebook just came out with something new. I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but before, when you tagged someone's name, like if I wanted to tag Trisha Meyer, I had to tag her entire name in the post. Now it allows you to shorten that and only use the first name or part of the name in the post. So if I wanted to say, instead of saying Trisha Meyer, I could put the @ sign and put Trisha Meyer, and I can start deleting her last name, and then I can just say, Trisha just posted a great video about Mother's Day. Check out the new products she's reviewing here, and then post a link. So that's one of the key things, is always trying to use relevant news. It has to relate to your audience in some way. Try to link to other fan pages to start growing your audience. And you also want to include a link going back to your website that has some sort of a call to action, or, they can watch a video. The more videos or images you include, the better than just having plain text up on Twitter or on Facebook.
Now that brings up a good point, but do you want to put that video on Facebook, or do you want to put an image in your link to the post and then tell them that the video is over on your blog?
You want to put unfortunately and fortunately, you want it on Facebook. Okay. So in this case, I've tried it, I've tested it both ways with some clients, and although you still do post the link to go back to your blog because they can read more information and get more details. However, they're more likely to click right on the video and watch it right then and there on Facebook than they are they spend more time when they can actually watch the video right then and there on Facebook. Okay. So we want to do a few things. We want to have the video there, and then if it's going back to YouTube, in the description for your video, you have the link to your blog post there. So you're still sending traffic back to your blog, but you're making the video available right on Facebook. You have to make it as easy for people as possible.
Right. And you brought up something that I wanted to make sure we talked about. We're talking a lot about Facebook, but on YouTube, every time you upload a video, the very first thing in your description should be the link back to your website. Yes. A lot of people are putting it at the end, and
including the HTTP part. This way it makes it a clickable link.
Yep, because if you put it at the end, people aren't going to click to see more, to get to your link. You need to have that first, followed by, your description of your video, and if people want to click it to find out more, they will, but always have that clickable link first. One of the things that I like to say is to make sure that, no matter where you have yourself out there in the universe, that there's always, always, always a link to home base. And home base is your blog.
It's the beginning of your funnel system.
Yes, you want everything funneling back to your blog.
Absolutely. And besides having the link to the blog, I talk about trending topics, but those are pretty much keywords. So when you upload a video, also include any keywords that you think are relevant that people might be searching for, and YouTube is a great resource for people to find you with those keywords and then get back to your blog.
Well, and as you're typing your tags, it tells you more tags.
Exactly.
It says use these tags because we think they fit your video. So now we've been talking about Twitter, but we really never actually explained Twitter. I'm sure most people know about it. There's a lot of people that are still a little bit afraid of it. I know, Vinny, you have several Twitter accounts.
Yeah, I think I'm at 29, something like that.
Wow.
And the reason for that is...
I have 29 different websites.
Well, and you also wanted... I'm trying to get him to explain the strategy.
Well, that you're going to have to pay for.
So the strategy for having different Twitter accounts is that... and even different Twitter accounts to the same website, but under a different topic. So like, Trisha, you have your main website, and then you have other Twitter accounts that are focused at different follower groups that you can link then from, send Twitter out a link from your main site that is only targeted towards the people who are looking for Twilight stuff.
Right. Because I have a feeling most of my affiliate marketing friends couldn't care less about the Hunger Games. But Hunger Games is huge right now in terms of everybody talking about it in social media, but not really my affiliate marketing friends. So they wouldn't appreciate my sheer number of Hunger Games tweets every day from my regular account.
Right. So now, Stephanie, do you set up multiple Twitter accounts for people when you're working with them, or do you stick with just one?
Yeah, it depends on who the person is and what they're doing. It does work well, but I don't do it for everyone. So, like Trisha said, if you might have different target audiences and you want to send that information out through different accounts, that's good. If you want to actually use another account to promote something for a company and it doesn't look like you're self-promoting yourself, that's another good way to use those accounts. But if we want to describe to people what Twitter is in general, do we want to give them an explanation of that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Twitter, what I explain to people in a very simple way, are pretty much Facebook status updates, but they're going to a different audience. So like I was mentioning before, Facebook is very personable and you kind of know each other to have conversations. Twitter is really nice because it opens up another world where you can have a discussion with anyone, including celebrities, news outlets, and a lot of news goes out from regular people breaking news on Twitter. So what's nice about that is you can send a message by linking their username with the @ in front of it. So mine is @microsteph, and if I want to send something to Vinny, I know his name is @Vinny O'Hare. And if I didn't know him, but I knew we were both going to be at Affiliate Summit, I might send a message saying @Vinny O'Hare, I would love to meet up with you during Affiliate Summit, and maybe use the hashtag for ASE11, which is Affiliate Summit East 2011, which I know is a hashtag. It's like another tool because something else that you notice on Facebook, you might have a lot more personalized updates going on. Like maybe they might say something about their kids or their day at work. On Twitter, you'll see some of that, but it's actually a lot more of sharing information. So the people on here are very tech savvy, and pretty much every single tweet that goes out is including a link somewhere. Including a link and including tagging people that they're sending out the message to. So it's a very powerful tool because you can reach out to anyone without knowing them. And it's really about sharing your expertise. So whatever you're blogging about, that's what you want to share. And that's where you can kind of build a community with people and find different people that share the same kind of interest that you do.
Well, and I think that's really important because now you're seeing a lot of like Twitter parties, or like you said, the Twitter hashtags for like Blog World coming up, and you can connect with people that you wouldn't normally get to talk to, and you can find people with similar interests or that are in a similar location to you if you want to plan like a meetup. And that just reminded me that for the New York City meetups, I haven't been adding the hashtag NYC, or trying to go out and find new people, from New York City and send them a note, about our meetups that we have each month.
Right.
So, we're about at our time limit. Steph, do you want to give us some closing thoughts on, like Tricia said, what are the most important things to make sure that you do?
Well, it depends on how much time, but say you have only an hour a day and your goal is to post. What I normally do with people, I develop a strategy where Monday through Friday, specific types of blog posts are going out. So on Monday, they know they're going to get motivational tips, and on Tuesday, they know they're going to see a video. And that way you start building an audience that's used to getting specific news from you, and some of them might really enjoy videos, or some of them on Wednesdays want to see what events you have planned. So if you develop a plan, and you can plan that a week at a time, and you know that you need a video for Tuesday and you need an event for Wednesday, it starts becoming a pretty simple process. You can use that and then take the time to just send out something on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or any of the platforms that you're using, in LinkedIn. There's just so many platforms, but those are some of the main ones that we wanted to discuss today. Focus on that. Focus on just doing one solid thing every day, and then the strategy every week. You're targeting the same audience, so once you have that set up, it's easy to post it on multiple platforms. And I wanted to add one more thing that I didn't bring up. It's a little more advanced, but if you have something on your blog and it's very targeted, you can set up an advertisement through Facebook where you can target, like, say Deb wants to promote the next Affiliate Summit meetup in New York. She can target people specifically in New York, specifically in affiliate marketing, or specifically that are already fans of Affiliate Summit and things like that, and have such insanely targeted advertisements that it's very worth it, at least to try to get people into your fan page or to promote an event that you have going on. That's something that's more at the next level, but the first thing to really do is focus on your strategy. Think about who your audience really is, and leverage the trending topics and leverage other fan pages that have more fans than you already do to spread the word, and try to make it fun and make it personal, and don't make it all automated. That way they see that there's a person behind it and they want to connect with you on a different level. And they do become social media is more of long-term, getting long-term fans and getting
building
some
a
brand
loyalty base.
Yeah, exactly.
Building a base. Great. Tricia?
I think my biggest tip would be that once you've put in all this time to create the accounts, you need to make sure that you stick with it and not leave your audience hanging. Once you've got these Twitter followers and you've started engaging, don't go radio silent on Twitter for 2 weeks because you get too busy, because you may lose a lot of them. So wherever it is that you're building the audiences, make sure that you give it at least a minimum amount of attention, so that you don't lose everything that you've worked toward.
It sounds like you're talking about the Old Spice campaign.
Oh God, that was such an awesome campaign.
You know what stinks about it now? Now they're not even twittering out the account or anything.
I know.
It's absolutely a waste.
Well, one last thing, since you mentioned sticking to it, is to try to actually respond to people in a timely manner. So if you can check it at least a couple times a day, because if someone asks you a question and you respond to them a few days later or even the next day, at that point, it's probably irrelevant to them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you respond relatively quickly, you've just got a new friend.
You can do a way you could set it up like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Spend 10 minutes on Twitter each time. Break it up 3 times.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And I forgot. Automation, yes. One of the things about automation is that you can, like, if you use a tool like Hootsuite, you can sit down in the morning and you can actually tweet out certain things during the day without having to be sitting at your computer, actually doing that tweeting.
But just don't go nuts with it.
But don't go nuts with it. And
Like
then the other thing.
I'm a total bad example.
Yeah, we.
Yes, Vinny. We know it.
It feels good to admit it.
He tweets while we're watching, TV. All of a sudden, he'll tweet at 3 o'clock. Well, actually, we're still around at 3 o'clock in the morning tweeting. But then he'll tweet at 9 o'clock in the morning, and everybody's like, did you stay up all night?
That wasn't you, Vinny.
It wasn't you. And somebody actually contacted me on IM the other day and said, "Are you really up?" Because I twittered something. And then they accused Vinny of twittering for me. They said, "Vinny hacked your account and he twittered something." And I'm like, no, I can schedule tweets.
Yeah.
And the other point that I want to make, especially for bloggers that have been blogging for a while and they're just setting up their Facebook and Twitter now, don't forget your evergreen content. Don't think that you only can tweet out your new content. Go back to your old content, but preface it with that this is from my archives. I recently...
Just don't do it like crazy.
Yeah, I recently actually talked to a friend about it because he was tweeting out things that, it sounded like, oh my God, this is new, great information. And then it was a post from 2009. Now, I don't mind reading a post from 2009 as long as I know it was from 2009. Because so much information, especially in social media, has changed so much in the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
But don't forget your evergreen content, and please do continue to tweet that out and put it on your Facebook.
Yeah, I do use Hootsuite as well, and I'm not against scheduling tweets. I think that's fine because you can still do personalized tweets, and even if you're sleeping at 9 a.m. and they go out, the person will see that, and I think that's completely fine. The only thing that I'm not a big fan of is automating where it just goes straight from the blog pushed out to a Twitter account and it goes out several times a day. You can tell when there's not really a person behind that.
Right.
And last but not least, because I know we can all talk about this all day, it's different to send out a lot of messages on Twitter than it is on Facebook. On Facebook, I would limit the amount of things that you send out, and on Twitter, you can send a lot more tweets out throughout the day. It's just a different platform, and if you post 5 to 10 things on a Facebook fan page, and someone logs in to check personal things that are going on with their friends and family, and they see you in all of their newsfeed, chances are they'll hide you from their newsfeed, or they might even unlike your page.
Yep.
So I would keep that more to a minimum. I do 1 a day, and if you really have important news, you can do 2 to 3 tops. But on Twitter, that's something that you can do more frequently because the audience is used to seeing a lot of tweets going out. So keep that in mind as well.
Okay, this is great, and maybe in a couple weeks we can do a follow-up and get more into, we barely touched on LinkedIn, and sure, maybe even talk about the social bookmarking sites. So for now, if you are listening to us on iTunes, please go over to bloggingabcs.com so that you can find all the wonderful notes and links about things that we've talked about today. And also, Stephanie, where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me personally on Twitter at MicroSteph, on Facebook, MicroSteph as well. My company, facebook.com/micromedia marketing, and our website, micromediamarketing.com. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it was great. Trisha, where can people find you?
At www.trisha.me or on Twitter at SunshineTrisha.
And that's Trisha with a C. And Vinny?
I always get that mixed up too. You can find me at Twitter /Vinny O'Hare or at VinnyO'Hare.com.
And because everybody else has personalized websites, I have decided to start using DeborahCarney.com on this one.
Wow.
She caved in.
I caved in.
I'm going to go check it out right now.
Okay. It isn't quite perfect yet, but it's going to be where I'm going to put everything together. And you can find me on twitter.com/Loxley, LOXLY, or twitter.com/DeborahCarney. And as always, we like to thank Geekcast.fm for hosting our podcasts and where you can go find more podcasts on internet marketing and all kinds of really cool geeky things. And again, please come see us at bloggingabcs.com. Ask us questions. Tell us how you use social media. Leave us some comments and let us know what you want to learn next.
Leave us some questions and we'll have Steph come back again.
Yes.
Yes. And happy birthday to my mom.
Happy birthday, Steph's mom.
Happy birthday, Steph's mom. We're recording this on Wednesday, May 4th.
Yes.
So just so we can put the time in there. So thanks, everybody, and have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.